What's cracking, game? What's cracking, Crump? What's cracking, YouTube? What's cracking to the culture? The whole underground. Today, I want to just touch on the topic of the session, or some people might call it a cipher, a gathering, a ceremony, however you want to break it down. But for the sake of today's message and this message right here, we're going to use the term session. All right. What is a session? What is the session? A session is simply a gathering. That's it. We gather together in one place, ideally for one common goal. And that's what we're going to address here. The goal or the aim or the purpose. We gather together for one common purpose. What is your purpose? What is the purpose of this session, that session, any session? So everybody can come with their own reasoning, their own why. Like there's no one way. There's no one, there's no rule saying that you have to come dancing a certain way or thinking a certain way. The ultimate aim is a release. Regardless of whatever angle you come from, the aim is to get a release. Whether it's releasing something stressful, joyous, painful, sorrowful, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be negative, doesn't have to be detrimental. It could be anything, but how do we articulate that? And then get that feeling of completion where it's like, all right, it's out. I said what I gotta say. So I wanna address how this water got kind of murky and how we can clear it up and start filtering out the good from the bad, because we've come a long way, but at the same time, a lot of us came the wrong way. So I just want to break things down from my perspective. You can take whatever works. I hope it enhances your skills, your understanding, all of that. I'm not here to try to be greater than anyone else. I want to give whatever it is I have to those that want to use it, who need it, so y'all can get to the next level and not struggle the same way we did, all right? So this session, when you're coming to a session, have an open mind. It's best to come ready to give and not coming wanting to take or expect to receive. See the session, the cipher, the ceremony as a place of respect, reverence, and a pot or a boiling pot to place your creativity in, stir it, mix it up, and then produce something original, that you couldn't do on your own, that you couldn't do in the living room, and that y'all couldn't do separate from each other. This is what makes the session so powerful, because when two or more are gathered in the presence or in the essence of creativity, man, crazy things happen, And that's what makes the sessions addicting, because you've experienced something that you can't explain, but you felt it and it was real. And you want to feel that again. Or if not that, you want to top that. And then there's another aspect to where if you're coming to the session to take or to put yourself up, you may run into a situation where you're feeling like you've never hit that oomph. You never got that get off out or never got that release after sessions because, your mind was divided or your moves didn't hit right. And that's because your focus was off. You got to die to yourself when you come to the session. And this leads me into my next explanation or my next breakdown of something that I personally apply and implement in my journey. Veneration. In a basic sense, veneration is just the highest form of praise and respect, specifically to those that aren't here anymore. For me, my tapping point in dance, or specifically in my crump journey, my tapping point was after I can't say lost, but after my mother had transitioned. I was about 26 at the time. I'm 34 now. And it was a tapping point. It was crazy because it was a style change I went through, but it was also a mental transformation that I was going through. And for me personally, the culture itself, the material version, the materialistic version, it did nothing for my subconscious. It did nothing for my emotion. It did nothing for my ability to really make sense of what I needed to do with life next. You see, like, for me, I want to take responsibility as an East pioneer. For my faults and for where I need to pick up. Not making it about me, but I have to use myself as an example. I had to learn and understand how to be selfless in this culture. Because when you're chasing validation and confirmation from outside sources, it's like an endless pit. You're going and going and going and going and going. And it doesn't matter how much you think you're validated. It doesn't matter the name you got or the title you're aiming for. It's not it. Because the real it is your why. Why are you doing this? And what do you have to bring to the table? And I had to learn and see that, okay, there's friends, there's snakes, there's more snakes, there's there's spiders, there's keep your grass cut low, We're not here to make friends, buddy. We're gonna have peers. But ultimately, you're here because this is a way for you to articulate something inside of you that words can't say. When you're moving, that ain't just you. It's not just you. It's not just skill. It's something bigger than you. Some choose to call it God. Some choose to call it the Holy Spirit. Some choose to call it creativity. Some choose to call it freedom. Doesn't matter what you want to name it. It's all energy. And the aim is to control it. Discipline. How do we control this energy that's making us want to wild out, that's making us want to, move like an animal, that's making us, think of creative movements that are out of the box. We hone this energy and we mold it and we shape it and we learn to control it. And that can only be done in the session, the pressures of the session. The session starts in the living room. It starts in your heart, but it starts in your home. You don't need a studio to session. You just need a corner. You just need space. But what's more important is the mindset that you come into, or the mindset you have when you come into the session. The session is a ceremony. It's a place of reverence, veneration. The game is lacking the appropriate spirit connection. There's a whole lot of definitions and articulations of what people see and think they want to call spirit is, whatever. No one's going to say it's wrong, but what we need to do is we need to have a logical and common understanding. Religion, it gets you emotional. We're at a new age where we need to use our minds now. Balance emotion with logic. The session is a place where we hone and discipline our skills. It's a place where you can fail because you'll learn where you need to fix yourself. Nobody is putting anyone at some pinnacle or some level of expectation. You come, you perform, you release. You release. It's not about trying to be the best. You're the best when you can release, when you can show the next man how to be vulnerable, the next individual how to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is our aim. That's what we're aiming for. To drop the mask and to be our true selves. That's how we find our original essence. It's not in the workshops, y'all. It's not in the workshops. Now, workshops are dope. Definitely go to them. Get your skills up. But you got a session. It's not at the events. The events are cool. But you got a session. It's very important that if you consider yourself any type of significant to this culture, right now I'm speaking to Crunk, but I'm really aiming to all street culture, all underground culture. If you consider yourself a part of it, give life back to the session. It don't have to have big names. It just has to have true heart, real blood on the soul, real blood on the ground. The session is where the energy needs to be redirected. Not events, not workshops, not trying to travel all around. That's cool, but if you're going to travel all around and you're going to do that, make sure that you're traveling to speak the truth and to spread how sessions should be ran.